What's up, boys? Had a couple difficulties with my last 3 videos. My audio definitely was not up to par. I tried getting a different microphone. If anybody has any reservations about starting a YouTube channel, you think it's going to be extremely difficult, you think you don't know what you're going to talk about, it's really not that hard. In about 2 days of sitting down, genuinely looking at products, things that I owned, my knowledge base, the equipment that I already had, and sitting down and taking it seriously, I figured out how to edit videos, how to properly keyframe and light stuff. Yeah, I had to invest and pick up a couple things. Picked up a couple GorillaPod tripods. I already had some lighting. As I talked about in previous videos, I'm into flashlights and lighting. I had a lot of, maybe not movie or video quality. I had a couple of these things laying around. I decided that I would figure out a way to make them work together, and with a couple of minor adjustments, I got a Movo lavalier mic and a combo desktop mic. Well, I guess it's meant for DSLR cameras for $40. This was what I was filming previously on. This is my old Google Pixel 3. I had a couple issues with this, and when I was trying to separate the stream, so as you can see in my older my videos previous to this, I was looking slightly off center. So what had happened essentially changed the orientation of the phone and the jig. I had trained myself to look in one direction, so I've kind of retroactively set it up so I can keep my eye line straight at all times. Shouldn't have those problems again. I've also added a webcam connected to my primary render and gaming rig, so now that I can tell where my eye line is by using my webcam as a monitor. Essentially, this was serviceable, but I could use it in the orientation where I was using the rear camera. So I had a primary and secondary recording going. Some of the clips, I won't be looking directly into the eye line, and I apologize for that, but I've rectified that in the new setup, and hopefully going forward, everything should be straightforward. The audio should sound a lot better. If it doesn't, I'm gonna continually, iteratively work on that. So hopefully the next coming videos should have better, not only video quality, but microphone quality. And as I'm learning the editing software, hopefully I can lean more into that to clean up additional sounds and things of that nature. Again, these are my first couple of videos, so I apologize. It's a personal goal of mine to want to start a YouTube channel. And again, I want to preface that by saying, yes, I'm doing firearm related content. Yes, I'm doing gear, knives, flashlights. I'm doing content relating to things that I'm interested in, but that doesn't necessarily mean that that's going to be the only thing that I focus on for the remainder of the channel. So if you see a game breakdown video or a review on something that doesn't necessarily fall within the parameters of what you've come to understand or come to what's the word I'm looking for? Come to assume I would be making, well, then it's going to be what it is. So, last couple of videos, I kind of went over things that were on my person, not so much primary EDC or first line EDC, but things that were directly on my body or in my pockets. While I might carry primarily those types of items on my person, sometimes I'm not capable of carrying everything that I need on my body. So while I primarily focused on first line or on person carry, I'm gonna kind of break down what my second line or off-body carry situation is. If I'm going to a friend's house, if I'm gonna be leaving my home for more than 24 to 48 hours, usually I'll pack a bag. If I'm pretty much doing anything that involves traveling in a vehicle more than inside of my area code, I'm gonna bring a backpack. I'm gonna put everything that I need or that I think I'm going to need for a trip up to 72 hours that does not include food inside of this backpack. Now, this is not a TSA compliant setup. I do have multiple different backpacks or setups that I will use depending on if I'm traveling long range, if I'm getting on an airplane, depending on what state I'm going to, whether or not I intend on taking a firearm. Flying with a firearm, that's a whole different story. We're not gonna go into that, but we can in the future. Right now, I'm just gonna show you my everyday backpack. This is the second line, completely legal within my state. And yes, this is not fabricated for YouTube. The first video wasn't fabricated for YouTube either. Those are genuinely the things that I carry every single day. So when I go over this, I'm going to kind of go outside to in. Unfortunately, because of the way that my camera is set up, I'm going to have to hold the backpack and show you. I am working on getting a secondary B-roll rig, or trying to figure out how I can make these videos better for the viewer. I know that that's really important to me when I watch YouTube. I would like to mirror that moving forward as well. So these are all topics that can be revisited. As I said in my other video, many large format, I'm talking anybody with 10,000 plus on YouTube at least that does EDC videos usually does a revisit or once or twice a year an EDC video. Again, I don't want to be the EDC guy. I'm just starting with what I know. So we're going to jump into my current off-body second line backpack setup. This is my Bridge Tactical 14-liter Daypack V2 in M81 Woodland. I think it's a fantastic backpack. If you're not doing anything where you need like a 3A panel or a hard plate panel in it for just like getting around, as the name implies, it's a 14-liter Daypack. It's not meant for large scale, long distance trips. This is just around town. Throw this in the backseat of your car, take off. So I'm going to start from the exterior pouches, pockets, and then I'll work my way in and kind of explain the interior of it. So it's got a hook and loop field, well, a loop field on the outside. You can stick patches, whatever you want to it. I've got a couple Grand Thumb Onward Research Skullfalo patches that I stuck on here. It's I think they're YKK zippers. The exterior pouches, the way they're set up, it's not going to completely keep any water from getting in, but it will stop most of it. Unless you're like in a torrential downpour, usually this is going to be more than adequate to keep it from getting your sensitive items wet. So in this top pouch, I carry Geisley Giant. It's their bolt head snake bandana. I didn't bring this up in my EDC video. I do carry one of these on my person every single day. I've carried a bandana for so long, just a standard cotton bandana. These are much larger than those. I really like that, just for whatever purposes you might need a large piece of cloth for. Improvised tourniquet, wiping something that's not an electronic screen or something of that nature down, keeping yourself cool, drying your, blowing your nose. I know that's gross, but these are fantastic for that, so I keep one of those in there. And these are the wallets that I wasn't going to show you in my previous video. Usually these are on my person. I just wanted to show I do have a wallet. Those are normally on my body. If I don't need to keep a firearm on my person and an identification at all time, I'll just offload it into the backpack and keep it locked in a safe area. That top pouch is completely empty. I'll sometimes put some writing instruments or something up there if necessary, but usually I like to keep that top pouch open. On the bottom zipper, keep one of these Chums XL microfiber cleaning cloths. These are freaking huge, amazing, just for general electronics or sunglass cleaning. I talked about sunglasses in that video as well, so I'm a huge proponent of wearing sunglasses if you're outside, so keep that either right on this zipper, or sometimes I'll stick it inside the side pouch here. So okay, so I want to preface again that these are not all usually in here. I'm just showing you options, things that I've tried in the past and things that I recommend to people. So I'm not 𝚂𝚌𝚋𝚎 certified or anything, but I do keep basic trauma and hemorrhaging equipment on my body, in my vehicle, and in my apartment at all times. So I've got the Leatherman. These are the Raptor response model, the folding model. They don't come with the glass breaker, but they still have the oxygen key, pocket clip, ring cutter. You can cut a penny in half with these. So if you need to do any serious work, these will more than likely take care of that. I've also got, these are Rat's tourniquets. This tourniquet is not CountyComm recognized, but I do keep it just for children and animals. John Lovell did a video on them. I bought one. I've never used it. I've not used this one. I bought 2 of them. I tested the other one out. I could still kind of get a pulse. This is mainly for children or animals, and that's the only reason that I carry it. It's the inner diameter can get a lot smaller than some of the other tourniquets that are available on the market. I do think that you should carry a tourniquet. I don't care what kind of tourniquet. I'm going to show you a couple different options. And again, they're not all usually riding in this backpack, but these are just some that I've tried. And I think if you don't know how to use a tourniquet, you should get a tourniquet. If you think just having a tourniquet is a magic charm that keeps you from bleeding out and you never learn how to use it, you don't test it, you don't hurt your arm or hurt your leg squeezing the living shit out of it and experiencing what that's going to be like, well, then you might bleed out. But so this is the Rats tourniquet. Again, if you have children, might be your only serious option. There's a couple new ones that I'll probably pick up and do some head-to-head testing in the future, but Rats tourniquet. Soft T wide in the packaging still. This is not the only one. I have 3 of these. Fantastic tourniquet. This one is CountyComm certified, so probably not going to go super deep into this, but this is one of 2 that I genuinely love. It folds super flat. If you get a Filster, Filster makes a flat pack that you can get this really low to your body. Fieldcraft also makes a inside the waistband. Yeah, Fieldcraft makes an inside of the waistband holster, Kydex holster for these. I think I got these from, not Dark Angel Medical. I got these from ETS. No, not ETS. I got these from Brian Black's company. Brian Black, I'm super sorry that I can't remember the name of your company off the top of my head. Anyway, soft T wide, fantastic. And Gen 7 Cat. If you know what this is, you know this is probably one of the best tourniquets on the market. Yes, this one is closed. I don't stage them in a specific way when they're in a backpack. I keep them in their plastic, usually to keep them protected. This was another option, the Sam XT tourniquet. I really like this. It ratchets. This is really useful for teaching people that aren't into the kind of rigmarole of this kind of stuff. This is great for teaching when to stop applying the primary constriction band before turning the windlass. I'll probably do a head-to-head of these guys in the future, but for right now, Cat, Sam XT, soft T wide. And that's it for the bottom. This is a Nightcore NPB4, 40,000 milliamp hour, no, 20,000 milliamp hour external battery bank. This has a different array of top firing outputs. It's pretty cool. I don't really necessarily need this molly attachment, like belt / molly attachment thing on it. It just came with it, so I left it on there. I do like that there's a little suspension tab on the top. That's kind of useful. I've hooked it onto things and left it charging close to a socket and whatnot. But it does USB-A, USB-A, USB-C, and then micro USB. The A's are flipped, so if you get it wrong on the input on the one, rather than reversing the cable, you just move it to the secondary slot. It's kind of cool. This is one of like 2 that I primarily use. I also have an Anchor one that I carry pretty frequently. Other than that, it's great charger, relatively small. I have pretty large hands. It works super well. I think it's 15 or 18 watt charging built in on C, so it's power delivery speeds. In addition to the NPB4, I also carry, this is another Leatherman Wave. Yeah, just a regular Wave, not a Wave Plus. And on the side saddle for this, I carry a Leatherman Micro. I really like this little setup. It works super well. I kind of went over these things previously, but if for some reason I don't have my Wave on me, this is always in this or my other backpack setup. I can just transfer it over relatively quickly. I've never had an issue. I've never lost it. This one, I think, has a 2012 or 13 birthday. And as you can tell, there's quite a bit of wear on this. It's been used and abused, and I finally retired it once I got the special edition two-tone one, so now it lives in my backpack. And then also, this was my birthday present to myself last year. I'd said that I pick them up every year. This is a distressed Microtech Ultratech. This one's an M390. It's got a birthday of around April of 2021. Yep, March 2021. So, M390 Distressed Ultra Tech. So much like the Trudon that I carry on my person, I believe in redundancy. So I'll pair these guys up if for some odd reason I can't go somewhere and keep stuff in my pockets. These are in my backpack close to me. It's always come in handy. Again, I talked about my philosophy with microtech knives. I don't cut paper with them. I don't open Amazon boxes. That's what the Leatherman's for, or the pocket knife. These are sheerly just backups. So, okay, we're gonna go into the main pouch. Now, while I kind of dress things on the outside, 90% of the time if I'm at a friend's house, I'm just gonna grab my charger, or they need something, you know, something tightened or whatever, I'll grab my Leatherman. On the inside of this, the back panel, again, has a loop field where you can attach any sort of morale patches, if you wanted to get an insert for molly pouches, if you wanted to do anything. I just have a couple patches in there, a couple Make America Violent again, a couple Grand Thumb patches. This is the other primary setup for tourniquets. Again, I don't carry 7 tourniquets on my person. I'm just showing you how I would stage it. Usually I'd keep 1 or 2 on the outside, or 1 on the inside, 1 on the outside. I don't carry 7 tourniquets. Typically, if you need 1 tourniquet, you might need 2, so I like doubling up. So this is the ITS pouch. It has a soft T wide, a pair of gloves, and a soft T wide, a quick clot gauze, and a pair of NAR bear claw gloves directly into this little packable trauma kit that lives inside of this pouch that came free of purchase. So that just lives all in there together. And I've just put in a pair of CountyComm International Emergency Orange shears. So I know I should put a little medical hook and loop patch on here, but I know what it's for. And if I say get the brown pouch with the white and the orange thing in it, you know. If you don't want to purchase a setup in a self-contained pouch like that, which has a a rear molly field and belt loops and hook and loop one wrap loops that you can put this on your belt or a plate carrier, or battle belt or whatever, you can just use the Ranger bands that come, or I guess they're not Ranger bands, the high tensile strength bands that come with the soft T wide, and just stick a pair of shears directly on the back of it. In my vehicle, I also do something similar with a Cat Gen 7, but I'll stuff a pair of NAR gloves in it. I'm not super worried about blood contact with people, friends and family, or if I'm using it on myself, obviously I don't care. But for a vehicle, if you're coming up went over the tourniquets. This is the SOL Bivvy bag. Picked the Ranger green one. There's an orange one as well. These are strictly just for keeping and retaining body heat when you're cold. For some odd reason, a vehicle breaks down or something like that. That's really all this is for. It has paracord with a fire starting loop, or inner core essentially. Emergency whistle as the tip. I put a knot in it so it doesn't open up. It's got a tri-glide slider. I just stuck a couple extra little cheap clipper and Bic lighters in here. They're, $1 a pop. On top of that, some UCO waterproof matches. It's just a quick way to keep additional. I like these clipper lighters because they're refillable when straight up. See the gas increases on the side. So clippers are awesome. I keep a Bic in there too. I'm not gonna fish it out. Heat, Bivvy bag. Socks. This is darn tough merino wool, ankle socks, but if you're running around with wet feet, it's just uncomfortable. So I got these as a Christmas present. I didn't want to take them out and put them in there, but having an extra pair of socks when your feet are wet or when you're cold. Don't use cotton. Cotton kills. Merino wool socks. Just a toque, a beanie as we call them in the States. Just Carhartt, nothing fancy. These are super warm though. They fold pretty flat, stick in there. I won't where usually unless it's the dead of winter and it's, you know, extremely cold, I'm talking like snowing, you know, 0 or sub-zero temperatures, I usually won't go out with this just by itself. So this is more of an add-on than a primary hat that I'll take out. So if you have a power bank, you're going to need a cable. These are just little cable pouches essentially. I don't always carry both of them, but I at least have one of them in my backpack. Sometimes I'll take just this and then go. This has got all sorts of multimedia cables, USB A to C, C to C. These are independent lithium chargers. There's an additional cable lead for an aviator cable and a little 8 gig verbatim 2.0 flash drive. All that lives on there is Hiren's boot CD, so I rarely ever use it. I just leave it clipped in there. So this is like the just cables pack. And I'll knot these in different ways so I know which one's which. This one goes under. This is the big one though, the primary one that I grabbed. Same type of deal. Multimedia cables for external drives and devices, A to C, C to C, short little cables. The funny thing about USB is that people will steal your cables from you if you let them. They're not going to want to steal a 3-inch cable, so you give them something that they pretty much want to return. These are just 5 gigabit cables. These are 10, so I don't normally let people, so I keep them separated. And then I keep Micro Center USB flash drives with different Linux operating systems, one blank for just raw media, and then another one that's encrypted with secondary or tertiary backup of, you know, portable applications and things that I might need when diagnosing or helping a friend fix their computer or set up a 3D printer or something. Super useful little tool roll for your cables. And with this one, I tie it over so I can tell. Next thing, I'm going to set this down here. This is the CountyComm Meritac large format tool roll. You can see my little DB friend here. The main reason that I carry this is if those two can't handle the situation, this more than likely will. Again, I've got multiple cables set up for redundancy, octo-headed, multi-C, more of those short cables, another multi-cable, 2 different external USB drives, a 512 gig Corsair Voyager flash drive that I've had for 4 or 5 years. It just has all sorts of different applications, backups, movies, whatever you can think of. Another pair of the CountyComm blackout shears, the mini shears actually, a Leatherman Micra and a Leatherman Squirt PS4 in a little case, 2 Ranger bands, and a emergency razor blade. To be completely honest, normally I keep this bit kit in there. I just used it, so I forgot to put it back in there. And the Power Pint by SOG, cool little micro folding tool. So that's the inside pouches, mainly for PC repair and data migration and backups and stuff. So that's the inside. And then on the outside there are 2 pouches as well. The top pouch just has various 18650 cells, AA and AAA rechargeable lithium counterparts, so the 14500 cells and the 10440 cells for different lights. And then the bottom, I've got some micro Kevlar cordage. I've got some Dyneema cordage from CountyComm. A couple more 𝚂𝚘𝚋𝚌𝚛𝚒𝚋𝚎 cables. This one, which has essentially it's a kill USB. You plug it in and it stops all data from being transferred, only charging to go over the USB header. The thing about flying and traveling, and there are people that will try and steal your data. This thing works extremely well. You plug it in, you plug your cable into it, and it will stop any data from passing through. It's awesome if you want to plug your phone in and not have to use Android Auto in the car or Apple, whatever Apple's equivalency is. It's awesome if you're flying or if you're plugging your phone or a device that you do not want to compromise into an unknown system. I believe OMG or O.MG, the guys who make the Rubber Ducky and Hack 5 in them, they also make a device similar to this. These are like 2 for $5, 2 for $10 on Amazon. I'll link them in the description if I can find them. This is an XTAR PB2, the USB-C input one. I have a couple of these. They're great little multi-cell chargers. I keep Panasonic NCR 18650Bs. These are 3400 milliamp hour 𝚂𝚌𝚋𝚎𝚋𝚎 protected cells. These aren't really meant for lights. This is more of a secondary or tertiary backup battery bank. Normally I'll just keep one of the two that I showed earlier and then this in the bag. For some reason I drained that. I know I've got another phone worth of battery kind of stored away. So it charges via USB-C and then outputs via USB-A. So great little charger. I think these are like $10. You can get them with the cells on some websites for like 15, 20 bucks. So great little option. And we're coming towards the end of it. Yep, that's pretty much it. So this is a Vans, I think it was a promotional item, I can't remember. A couple of years ago I went in there to one of the local shops and bought something and they threw this in. I'm not sure if it's their take on like a travel or a Dopp bag, but the thing that I really like about this is that it fits in pretty much anything. I'll take and put it in my carry-on if I have one or whatever. But it normally lives in the backpack. And inside of this, I just keep an extra spare set of clothing, another pair of those darn tough merino wool socks, Under Armour long sleeve shirt, extremely thin shirt, a couple cheap bandanas, and a pair of boxers. So I also keep one of these Grip 6 belts that a buddy got me in there. So if I get wet or have some reason to change any of my clothing, I've always got to change just a quick change of clothes nearby. So that's the travel extra clothing bag. So yeah, that's the LBT 14-liter Daypack. I think this is the V2, as I said, in M81 Woodland. It doesn't have a ballistic panel in it. In the future, I'm going to do my other setup, which is a Vertex Gamut 2.0. I have a Premier body armor panel in there. It's a lot bigger bag. I think it's a 24, 26 liter bag, so you could fit this bag inside of it, but for just day-to-day stuff, not overpacking, not taking the whole goddamn armory with you, it works. I don't carry any extra mags in this. If, as I said in my ADC video, if I don't have third mag on me, I just take that mag off and put it directly into this backpack and it just stays in there. So it's a great backpack, and in the future I'll kind of delve more into it. I've only had that bag for about a year, where I've had the Vertex Gamut for going on 5. I saw it in I can't remember whose video, but I saw them and I saw the video of that backpack and I grabbed it, but I wanted something a little smaller, a little less inconspicuous without a bunch of molly field. And yes, it has an M81 Woodland pattern on it, but it doesn't scream tactical backpack. So I really like that about the LBT. The shoulder straps are great. It's got tail management, Velcro at the bottom. So I'll kind of go into that more when I get into the other backpack. But for right now, this is my daily driver, and I really like it. So I can fit a full-size laptop in there. I've never had any issue. So this is just what lives in it on a day-to-day basis. So I really appreciate you guys sticking through with all my technical and video and audio issues. Again, I want to apologize for my previous video. I'm not looking into the camera, so I'm not going to address my mutton chops, but if you guys want to talk about that in the comments section, feel free. More coming soon. All right, peace.